Tiyale tinfombi nemajaha laqhube yona imbali nakuphuma emphakathini. Emajaha ayatiswa ukuthi tinfombi titawulala todwa nemajaha alale odwa. Usho njalo ke Msoso omnyama kulabathula odukandaba wasemelebeleni. Sisho njalo ke sigudhusa simnyama siyesebeka. Usho ke njalo ke lwandle olukhulu liyadikisela. Bethe onaphakathi wena ungangezintaba. Lokhipa simemetelo indvuna yetinfombi nonduduzo zuzu zubuko. Ninebe kunene. Tinfombi imbali yemaswati iyatiswa ukuthi ayingeti netunelete kubolekwa. Ayinge makeup, ayinga rouge. Boba betikhulu bayatiswa ukuthi abayalisise kahle abantu lababukile ukuthi bangadingi mati bashayela ibutho nakwendekile lokho nalo lilahle kubo. Tinsathele tekhane tangaphandle tiyayanga ukuthi atithathisise kahle ngaphambi kokuthi tibhale. Bethe unophakathi.
It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Sanebo Ngoan alongside Namakabiso Ngambule. Thank you so much indeed for choosing to stay with us. We're coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Babana. Let's take a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Eswatini III, who left the country this morning, has joined other heads of states for the 42nd SADC Ordinary Summit held in the Republic of Congo. The Southern African Development Community has honored King Sopuza II for his role as one of the founders of the organization, and government has set aside 65 million malangeni for the appeals of the Security Forces 2014 phase on salary review, which focused mainly on senior officials. And now the news in detail. His Majesty King Eswatini III has left the kingdom for the 42nd SADC Ordinary Summit for the SADC heads of states to be held in the Democratic Republic of Congo. His Majesty is accompanied by Ngosigati Langambule.
His Majesty King Eswatini III left the country through the King Eswatini III International Airport for the Democratic Republic of Congo. His Majesty is accompanied by Ngosigati Langambule. The King and Ingwenyama in Congo will attend the 42nd Ordinary SADC Summit of Heads of State and Governments. The summit will be under the theme, Promoting Industrialization through Agro-Processing, Mineral Beneficiation and Regional Value Chains for Inclusive and Resilient Economic Growth. The Ordinary Summit is held every year and is attended by heads of state and government from 16 SADC member states. Present to see His Majesty take off at the airport were Ngosigati to His Majesty, the royal family, the Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, chiefs, as well as the public. On the news, I'm Polile Mazia at the King Eswatini III International Airport.
The Southern African Development Community has honored King Suphuza II for his role as one of the founders of the organization. This was one of the key highlights at the official opening of the 42nd SADC Summit in Kinshasa. His Majesty King Eswatini III, who arrived safely in the Democratic Republic of Congo to participate in this summit, accompanied by Ngosigati Langambule, received the honor that outlined the role of King Suphuza II in the organization.
His Majesty's arrival in the DRC marked the start of his participation in the summit. The King touched down at Njili International Airport in Kinshasa on Wednesday morning, accompanied by Ngosigati Langambule, and His Majesty immediately hit the ground running and participated in the official opening of the summit with Ngosigati at the Parliament building. While the summit beamed a spotlight on current political and security events in the region, it had a broader agenda that addressed key regional issues. Regional leaders deliberated on the region's development under the theme promoting industrialization through agro-processing, mineral beneficiation, and regional value chain for inclusive and resilient economic growth. A key moment was witnessed when the SADC Secretariat honored His Majesty King Suphuza II for his role in the establishment of SADC. A medal that was presented in honor of the King, who was honored alongside other founders, was presented to His Majesty King Eswatini III.
The late His Majesty King Suphuza II of the Kingdom of Eswatini, and to receive the medal is His Majesty King Eswatini III. His Majesty King Eswatini III is receiving the medal.
The summit also focused on how member states can break down trade barriers and take full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Regional leaders were also expected to adopt new measures to improve food security in the region. On the margins of the summit, member states launched the SADC Gender and Development Monitor with a firm call for women to have a voice and be equally represented at all levels of decisions making and be able to participate meaningfully in all SADC forums. President Lazarus Chakwera of the Republic of Malawi, who addressed the summit for the last time as chairperson, called on member states to mobilize resources and start projects that will lift the SADC population out of poverty. He was firm in letting the West know that it can no longer squander resources from Africa, and that while the continent was open for business, it is not for sale. After his address, the president then handed over the SADC chairpersonship to His Excellency Felix Tshisekedi, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who is now the new SADC chairperson. Meanwhile, His Majesty King Eswatini III held bilateral talks with His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, the President of Zambia, on the sidelines of the summit. Heads of state were expected to agree on stepping up efforts to maintain peace and security in the region in a closed session that followed the official opening. They were also expected to agree that without a politically stable environment, all SADC development plans will go down the drain. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Sandile Makanya in Kinshasa.
Government of the Kingdom of Eswatini has set aside 65 million emalangeni for the appeals of the Security Forces 2014 phase on salary review, which focused mainly on senior officers. The Minister of Finance, Neil Reichenberg, says government is aware that there has been a delay in the implementation of phase 2. However, the matter is being given the attention it deserves.
In 2014, government started the first phase of salary reviews for senior members of security forces. The Minister for Finance, Neil Reichenberg, says government is currently working on the appeals from junior officers that came after the review.
Security forces, there were two levels. There was somehow what one calls almost like the top brass appeals that came through, and those were processed. But when one came to the more junior officers, there were appeals there that somehow were not catered for. And so in this year's budget, we have catered for it. I think I even mentioned in my budget speech that we had catered 65, we put aside 65 million for that appeals process. So that appeals process is now with the Ministry of Public Service. They are working on it. And we are hoping, as the Minister of Finance, that process can be finalized this year so that that appeals process can be taken care of and can be fixed.
The minister says government is always looking for ways to better the lives of all security officers, including those in lower ranks. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Mbongwa Dube Mbabane.
The Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Polile Shakantu, says the ministry has signed an agreement with Synergy International System that will be deploying the Eswatini electronic case management system. Shakantu says the system will make it easier for judges to follow each case from when it is reported to the police until it reaches the final legal stage.
The government of Eswatini, through the Ministry of Justice, in a bid to introduce an electronic-based system that will ensure efficiency in the judiciary through the electronic case management system, the ministry has signed an agreement with Synergy International System. The Minister for Justice, Polile Shakantu, says the system will help control and allow complete registration of court cases status and location to enhance public access on the web.
The system vele vele isingenisa kahle ku 2022 vision yeNgwenyama ukuthi kushaya lo mnyaka sibe vele sesenda tinvo ngalozinga leseqepholweni losetulu. The electronic case management sho sitawusita kakhulu siludiko ukuthi ema cases onke la khona kusukela cala nje libikwa emaphoyiseni kuze nangabe it's a criminal case umuntu agwetshwa aye correctional sikhone lokultrace lelo cala lize liyophumela emaphethelweni netindzaba lapho khona emafayile ukhanze uthi sekayalahleka asadi kusemafayile amadokethe lilahlekile le system ke seyitawucetha konke lokho ukuthi onke ama documents atawuhamba electronically kutawusita ke nemsebenzi etiko la justice ukuthi yonke imisebenti isale ihamba ngendlela lephuphumako.
The company paid a courtesy call to the minister's office on Wednesday before meeting the steering committee responsible for the implementation of the project. The committee comprises of the Minister of Justice, ICT, RSTP, Police, Judiciary, AG, DPP, Correctional Service, Anti-Corruption Commission and Human Rights Commission. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Muzim Konda, Babane.
The Minister for Finance, Neil Reichenberg, says the Ministry of Public Service needs to be involved in the operationalization of death and disability insurance cover faculty for security officers or forces. The Minister was speaking in the House of Assembly when providing the progress of the insurance cover.
Members of the House of Senate on Wednesday moved that the Minister for Finance submits a report on the progress made with regards to the operationalization of the death disability insurance for forces in Eswatini. Senators raised the importance of this insurance cover as forces are exposed to danger. Senators expressed that other frontline workers such as doctors and nurses need to be covered as well. Some senators asked for clarity between the insurance cover and workmanship compensation.
We are experiencing as a country harrowing, horrifying incidents where the people we should be relying on for our security are being attacked, killed, like never before.
Utawuvakala ukuthi ukhona lotawuthi soyesaba kutosisida ngenxa yokuthi kubonakala ukuthi sesimo silukhuni kakhulu. Hawu singathi nje mengameli siyadumisa ngale initiative le.
The President sibonile isikhathini esiningi, for example, a number of forces when someone pass on or ashone in their course of duty, only to find that their dependent and spouses have nothing to live on.
Lokuthi kube khona nayi insecurity kuma security forces ethu la ngemuva kunakule sikubona kuphindze kusale tinsanzane lapho sengikhulumela ukuthi sekuphathisa nje ukuthi nasiqhubeka sidiscussa sibuke ukuthi singacoverisha bona bodwana coverisha ke bona bomkabo bantu babo going forward.
The Minister for Finance, Neil Reckenbeck, when responding, stated that they are still working on the insurance cover.
We have actually been addressing it as we speak. Even the Prime Minister has actually been saying, Minister, please bring this one soon so that we can do it because of the current things going on. Just to clarify a few issues, maybe some points that were raised here. First of all, just I see in the motion that the fire and emergency services are not included in the motion. Just to understand, in the current draft regulations, they are there. They definitely also do put themselves under very dangerous situations, and they definitely do also qualify as a, so just for clarity, they are in the drafts, so that one just understands that. Secondly, workers' compensation does cover, at the moment, it does cover the police, it does cover the correctional, and it does cover the fire and emergency. But for some reason, Senators, it does not, or Madam President, it does not cover the army. And so there was bits of legislation trying to correct that a while ago. For some reason, those bits of legislation did not make it through the full process. But it is something that is being addressed as we speak, and we believe we can have this sorted out.
The insurance cover was approved by the Cabinet during the 10th Parliament. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni Muzimkonda, Parliament.
Select Management Services has launched the 200,000 school shoes donation campaign. Speaking at Happy Valley Hotel at Eswatini during the launch, the Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, Melusi Masugu, says the donation will go a long way in helping children in need since there's a rise in child-headed homes who need such assistance.
20 schools from the 4 regions will benefit from Select Management Services' 200,000 Emalangeni school shoes donation campaign. The General Manager, Sakile Zwane, says in each region, 5 schools will benefit.
Si identify itikolo letisihlanu nge-region. Siyati region asamane but kune-region lesihlanu lesisinguNorthern Hall. Lapho khona si-identify itikolo letinhlanu ngasinye. Lapho khona sitha ucela ukudonate ticatfulo. Le ivalue yakhona ingafika ku-200,000 emalangeni. Kufaka ekhathi nemasokisi akhona aleto tikolo.
The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, Melusi Masugu, says such assistance is always appreciated. He says there are child-headed homes and the children need such assistance.
Kutaba lisito lolukhulu kakhulu kulabantwana ikakhulu ngaloko ukuthi siyasathi isimo lesibhekene naso kulamalanga lapha even bantwana baswele kakhulu kunemakhaya laswele kakhulu labanye balabantwana abadala bakhona ukubathengela ticatfulo ukuthi bakhona kuba kuya esikolweni nabo bative bafanana nalabanye bantwana labachamuka emakhaya lengathi mhlawumbe wona aphila kahle.
Select Management Services says this is part of their social responsibility. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Ngamandla with Mbongwa Dube, Zulwini.
Eswatini Electricity Company says it has completed a feasibility study which has informed it that the Makuka Dam can be used for power generation of up to 30 megawatts. This has been said by EEC Managing Director Ernest Mkonte during an interview at Southern African Power Tool Roadshow held at Mafini in Babano on Wednesday.
The Southern African Power Pool is having roadshows in the Southern African region, engaging power producers on buying and selling of electricity with the aim to ensure that everyone has access to electricity. SAP is now in the Kingdom of Eswatini as part of the roadshow, where Eswatini Electricity Company Managing Director Ernest Mkonta said this is a chance for them to see opportunities in the electricity market.
Sinawo emathuba ekuthenga gesi nakulamanye emave lakhweshelene nelive laKangwane. Ngabekisa nje kune line la gesi lelisuka eDRC Congo lifika la Eswatini lihamba kuwo onke lamanye emave. Siyakhona ke kumthenga gesi lophehlwa eCongo ngekuthi sithengele kule market Southern African Power Pool eHarare. Sekukhona imitamo lesiyendile yekukhulisa ku-generator gesi lapha kaNgwane. Ngikhuluma nje sicetse i-feasibility study yekugenerator ngemandi lapha kumaguga. Kune potential lenkulu yekuthi singangetetela nga 30 megawatts
SAP Executive Director Steve Diwa said they see the will shown by Eswatini in ensuring energy sufficiency.
We have not only seen the potential, but EEC has demonstrated that by participating already in the electricity market. So what we want to see is that increased participation, not only from EEC, from any other independent power producer.
The roadshow is expected to last for 2 days, and it is attended by different stakeholders in the electricity sector. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Emafini.
The Kingdom of Eswatini requires a sum of 1.5 billion emalangeni to survive the impact of climate change. The climate change focal president Ketsiwe Khumalo says the country needs to strengthen food production for the country to be secure amid the climate change challenges.
The government of Eswatini founded the Environment Fund in effort to conserve the environment to try and fight the effects of climate change. These efforts are not enough. Funds are needed to implement adaptation and mitigation projects that will help the kingdom withstand the effects of climate change. The climate change focal person, Ketsiwe Khumalo, says the kingdom needs funds amounting to $950 million to $1.5 billion. Khumalo says the country needs to focus on adaptation projects that will focus on agriculture, water, health, ecosystem and biodiversity, as well as infrastructure. Khumalo says the COVID-19 pandemic limited funding. That is why the private sector needs to come on board. The developed countries, especially Europe, are also facing drought.
Sisilive la kaNgwane sibukete ukuthi tintfo letimcoka nyalo sibuka ukuthi live lingenda njani ukuthi libe nekudla lokwanele njengoba siyati ukuthi uma guquka simo selitulu thine kudla kwethu sincike kakhulu kuletinkhomba telitulu nekushisa ngemazinga ekushisa. So siyabona ke nyalo ukuthi emazinga ekushisa kakhulu netimvula atini ngendlela lefanele. So kudla akusisako lesikulima ngendlela lengabe sikulima ngayo. Kudla lesikulima lisilive kuncane kakhulu kunalesikudingako. Lokunye lokumcoka kakhulu kwekuthi sichubeka futhi sithuthuka siyayilimata imvelo lengasho kona ukuthi njengoba sibuka indzaba dematete ongabona nje sindlela lesesithuthuke ngayo silive kunemiti la kunematete khona kunemigwaco la kunematete khona kanti ematete ngiwo tipontshi leti sisitawo kakhulu kwekuthi tonge emandi nema communities ethu atfole emandi.
During the COP26, head of states from the African region deliberated on the need for funding to sustain these mitigation projects. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Themba Shabangu, Mbabane.
Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini. Let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the news continues. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Free shopping is back at Spar, where we're putting smiles on the faces of thousands of Spar Rewards customers when they win their shopping for free. Just shop any participating product, swipe your Spar Rewards card, and go big with Nivea Roll-On Deodorant for only $19.99 and 2-liter Spar carbonated soft drink. Buy any 3 for just 30 emalangeni. Win your shopping instantly, only at Spar.
Celebrate ShopRite's low price birthday with big deals and even bigger savings. Like Coup baked beans for only $9.99 and flour gold oil for just $79.99. Save big with our low prices this birthday, only at ShopRite.
Welcome back. You're still with the News Bulletin at 8. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us and making Eswatini TV your news channel of choice. We shall now take a look at our financial indexes and see how our markets performed today in our financial report.
Standard Bank. It can be.
And now for our sports news. The chairperson of the Hoho Regional Football Association, Nigel Chonge, says the executive committee of the association is still in charge, besides the recent reports that there's an interim committee that is currently running the association. Chonge says nothing has changed and the executive committee will be eligible for another term in office for 4 years if elected. Chonge revealed this in a press briefing at Squatter House in Babani.
The Hoho Regional Football Association held a press briefing to clear the air on the ongoing debates that ended up seeing the current executive committee being taken to court recently, where allegations were pointing that there is an interim committee besides the executive committee of the association that is in charge of the region. The chairman of the executive committee, Nigel Chonge, says the current elected executive committee is still in office and will be still eligible for another term of 4 years if elected in the upcoming General Assembly of the association next month.
Kubeke nemsinjalo bangwe bantu labadlanzanyana nje sibathu sebahlangene kuphi bang14 basina bakhulukhuluma imizabatayo bathi khuluma bagcina sebasukumise nelikomiti abalisukumisile lacala likomiti selisho ukuthi ngilo lelise ofisini lesi sikase sitokucacisa kakhulu namuhla sithi kumalunga ethu nabo bonke nje labathinzeka kwebholeni eSwatini nalabathinzeka kwesigodi sawo sedlala sebhola ukuthi sithi akusilo liqiniso lokho njalo kwenkantolo ishido nje vele yasicitha ngelifastelo leso sicelo sawo basifakile enkantolo ngaleli hobisi la kaHoho siyasho ke namhla sithi sisekhona ehobisini la kaHoho solo siphethele mandate lesayithuna ngemalunga ukuthi siye indlulisele phinde futhi sibadlalisele imidlalo yabo yebhola kaHoho eSwatini. Sithethe ngesinqumo selehhovisi la kaHoho ukuthi sithi awuhamba sibuke indlela yemthetho ukuthi sokusebenzisa njani umthetho ukuze labantu nabo bakhulunyiswe ukuthi bathathe ibhola bayise enkantolo kanti imithetho yebhola kayivumi ukuthi enkantolo. Sisebabhalile kwanyalo sisebanike emalanga lang7 ukuthi basatise ukuthi vele lelabathinzekako lapha bawungenela lo mhlangano. Nangabe sebawungeneke sasesiyabona ukuthi sibendela lento dincwasite ukuthi singababita sito bakhulumisa thina saba ngemthetho webhola sibafake ku-DC yethu bahambe nabo bakhulumiseke ngalokusemthethweni.
The General Assembly of the association will be held on the 25th of September this year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Themba Shabangu, Mbabane.
Well, with those sports news, we've hit the home stretch of the news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick reminder of our top stories tonight. His Majesty King Eswatini III, who left the country this morning, has joined other heads of states for the 42nd SADC Ordinary Summit held in the Republic of Congo. The Southern African Development Community has honored King Sobhuza II for his role as one of the founders of the organization, and government has set aside 65 million emalangeni for the appeals of the Security Forces 2014 phase on salary review, which focused mainly on senior officials. Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, that's all we had for you. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the crew here at Eswatini TV. For now, it's good night and God bless.
Angibele babukeli bemsakato Eswatini TV igama lami ngithemba Simbuyisa ngilibingelela nje babukeli sehlelweni lithini libandla ingane leli hlelo mbukeli la khona sibuka indzaba dedenkolo lithathela khona embhalweni lekulibhayibheli mbukeli ke ehlelweni ke siba nabo bantu labaqeqeshekile ngendaba dedenkolo sibe nabo nebafundisi ke mbukeli umuntu wathatha lethuba nje mbukeli akubonge lapho ekhaya lala usibukela khona ngabe usibukela amabona kude ngabe usibukela ku YouTube siyabonga kakhulu mbukeli chubeka ke usibhalele inombolo tikhona kumabona kude na social media kanye sikhona futhi mbukeli ke njengenhlala yenda ke angihambi ngedwala ngihamba labo make libe nginabo evikini leliphelile ukhona eceleni kwami Bishop RK wakamhlanga akahamba edwala lomdzala uhamba namake Nzinisa SP Nzinisa ngosiyami ngiphindze ngivusele abantu abadala
siyakuvusela Mbuyisa sivusene balaleli emakhaya babukele emakhaya
noma siyabonga nakhemetela kangaka namhla
angilothe sihlana labo ba
ngiyabona bacano siyabonga kakhulu yani bahle kakhulu angivusela kakhulu Nzinisa
siyavusela Mbuyisa kakhulu nebabukele emakhaya ngiyabonga nje lithuba lekuphindze sibuye la TV nini
la TV nini ngosiyabonga ke siyabonga kakhulu kulamagama lengawathanda make nena wakhuluma evikini liphelile nithi lo muntu lo wesifazane noma make wa release akubabe hey ngosiyami njengathi lo moya we release ungachubeka nje kube khona le release buke la umhla ke sikhulumisa nje kakhulu ke bulukhoni lokhanza ukuthi bomake bahlabetana nabo nabasemakhaya sithi nje asisibuke sibucwalinge sinabo make angithembe ukuthi awusitakala mbukeli ngosiyami make Bishop sengikhona sengikuwe make engabe vele make yini bulukhuni bomake labahlangabetana nabo kubo babe ekhaya noma abantu ababo
siyabonga Mbuyisa lo mbuto lona hey indzaba lenkulu lena Mbuyisa nawe mbukeli ekhaya make uyeta atokwenza la khaya athi ukuthi uthanziwe athi nje ukuthi nguye la ekhaya kodwa thina kuhambe emalanga bathathene nalo babe